What's up guys? Good morning. Happy Monday. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. So I'm going to be sending out videos just like this every week on Monday to help you guys out in your journey at becoming better wedding videographers and destination wedding and elopement filmmakers. So today I want to talk about something that's super important to me, and I believe it's going to really help you out in the long run as a wedding filmmaker, and that is realizing your full potential as a wedding filmmaker. Now this might sound like something that's more of just a duh topic, but it's something I really want to dive into, and you have 5 to 10 minutes here. I really just want to hone in on this subject for 1 second. I feel like a lot of wedding filmmakers out there are just settling for the way that they have done things and probably will continue to do things unless we realize what we're actually capable of doing. So many wedding filmmakers in the industry are just settling for the way that their work already looks. They're not realizing that this is something that we can truly, and I mean truly, get a lot better at. You see, the big difference between what we do and some other fields is that the actual talent that we want to achieve is very much attainable for even the most regular of us as cinematographers. For example, if we look at somebody like LeBron James or Michael Jordan, they had to practice free throws, three-pointers, dribbling around people, defense, all of that for upwards of 2 decades before even getting into the NBA. You see, our luxury as being cinematographers is that we don't have to do that. We don't have to train our bodies per se to have a certain unique makeup or talent in order to succeed at what we're doing. You see, a camera is a mechanical and an electrical device that we're holding in our hands. And the cool thing is that we have just as much potential as every other cinematographer on the world because we have the same piece of equipment in our hands. So let's say that you're looking at one of your favorite wedding filmmakers' films and you see something that you like. The cool thing is that you don't have to practice for 20 years to get to being able to do something just like that. All you have to do is figure out where they were standing, what they were doing, how their subject was standing in the light, and how they were setting their exposure. Obviously, there's other things that go into the makeup of a shot, but the point I'm trying to make is that you can learn the technicalities of things that will make you better as a wedding filmmaker. So today I have 4 things that I'm wanting to go over with you guys so that I can help you realize that we can all become better at our craft. Number 1, stop settling. We have to realize that our work can actually get much, much, much better. Just because we've been doing something the same way for over 5 years doesn't mean that we have to continue doing it the same way. So in this, you have to realize that you actually can get better at this, that you actually can grow. This is really more of a mindset shift wherein you're realizing that you actually have the potential and the ability to learn how to get better at what we're doing. If you take away anything from what I'm saying this morning, I hope that you realize that it doesn't matter who you are, how long you've been doing this, you can get so much better than you already are. This is something that I'm always telling myself as I start a new edit or I go out to shoot a new wedding film. Every single wedding that I shoot, in my mind, it's a new opportunity to be able to get better at what I'm doing. Number 2, you gotta stop obsessing over gear. Yes, gear is extremely important, but you have to realize that although you have the fundamental understanding of white balance, exposure, focal lengths, you have to master these things and learn to harness each of them to their fullest ability. I've seen so many wedding filmmakers over the years, including myself, just become obsessed with thinking that if I get this new camera, if I get this new light, if I get this new piece of audio equipment, I'm gonna be that much better. If we can get out of this mindset, not only are we gonna be saving ourselves a lot of money because a lot of the stuff in this field is very expensive, but we're also gonna be shifting our focus away from gear to what actually matters. And what actually matters is honing our skills, not upgrading our gear. When I'm talking about honing skills, I'm talking about learning where to stand with a particular focal length, where to position your subject in some natural light by a pretty window. One of my biggest things when I first started out as a wedding filmmaker was trying to figure out how to have beautiful bridal prep shots. For some reason, it's one of my favorite parts of the day when I'm filming a wedding. There's something about starting off your wedding films with bridal prep, if done beautifully, that really sets the tone for a very beautiful wedding film. What I mean by that is learning where to stand with a particular focal length, where to put your subject in a room with natural light, how far to put them from the window, what position you should be having them in relation to the window, how high or how low you're standing or squatting, what's your depth of field, what's your ISO, what's your shutter speed, what is the subject's face doing in your shot. These are just a few examples of things that we can hone our skills in, even with something as simple as bridal prep, putting a bride next to a natural light window, learning how to make that look beautiful. Which brings me into my next point, which is point number 3, watch your favorite filmmakers and don't be scared to copy them. Now, don't necessarily copy everything they're doing by their music choice, their shot style, how they're editing it together. Please don't go out and do that. What I mean is look at the way that they're shooting their wedding films and try to figure out how to emulate that. For example, when I first started out being a wedding filmmaker, I would always look at a particular wedding filmmaker's films and I would analyze their shots over and over and over and over and over again until I realized how far from their subject they were standing, what camera movement they were doing, what was their exposure, how far were they from the window when they were shooting the shot. It's all about breaking down these details to try to figure out how to hone our skills. Even if you only figure out one little thing in one video that you can do better, it's a step in the right direction. So let's take tiny steps to become better. Again, don't copy the filmmaker's films, but try to emulate the way that they're shooting their films if you're inspired by their work. This is a really good hack. If you're already inspired by a certain filmmaker's work, then try to emulate how they're shooting their films, and eventually over time you will develop your own style that is different than theirs. So point number 4, and this is probably the most important one to me because it's the most tangible way to me that we can get better as wedding filmmakers, and that is what we do when we're in the editing suite. The editing suite is the best place to learn. Now, editing is not going to make us per se a better wedding filmmaker, but what it does allow us the opportunity of is looking back at the footage that we've shot a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago. Since we're wedding filmmakers, we probably shot some weddings since then. And because we weren't editing this footage, we didn't really have the opportunity to go back and change our shooting style to accommodate for anything that we thought we might have been doing wrong. What the editing suite allows you to do is to look at on a full screen what your work looks like. So when you're in the editing suite and you're looking at a shot and it's shaky or it's overexposed or your white balance isn't correct, this is where you learn that, hey, I really need to get better at what I'm doing on the day before and start practicing things so that I'm not making these mistakes on the day of. This is a really good opportunity to apply point number 3, where you can stop editing, go back and watch one of your favorite wedding filmmakers' films. Chances are, since we're all wedding filmmakers, if you're going back to watch one of your favorite wedding filmmakers' films, there's probably something in that film that is very similar to yours. You can then take the two and compare them. Look at what they're doing in their film and compare to what you're doing in your film and try to figure out how to bridge that gap. Lastly, on point number 4, I want us all to realize that these things that we're trying to learn are so easy to forget. So make sure that you're writing all this stuff down as you're learning. If you're doing something on a wedding day and you don't like something that your gear is doing, make a note in your phone that you need to change that. If you're in the editing suite and you see that your footage is shaky and you were on a monopod or a gimbal, maybe you need to change out your gimbal. Maybe you need to change out your monopod. If for some reason your dance footage seems boring, maybe changing up focal lengths, how far you're standing from your subject, how you're lighting your dance floor. The list can go on. Be sure that you're always pushing yourself to become a better wedding filmmaker and analyzing yourself constantly. My biggest goal with everything that we're doing here, guys, is to become better at what we're doing. I truly care about this, and I want you to hear me on that you do have the potential and the ability to get better at what you're doing. All right, guys, that's all for today. There's gonna be lots of fun stuff happening in the Facebook group this week. If you know anyone that could benefit from being in this Facebook group, Destination Wedding and Elopement Videographers, please feel free to invite them. We're really gearing things up as we go into this wedding season, and I have a lot of good content I'm gonna be coming out with over the next several months. Would love to have more people here, but thank you for being here. I'm excited to be on this journey with you, and as we all learn more about this, it's going to be a fun ride. Thanks again for watching this video, guys. Have a great week.